How Long Gone, recording in progress. That's Chris Black. I'm coming to you from a supply closet at a photo studio in Pasadena. It is 8:45 in the morning. This is how we get it done here at How Long Gone. We do it all. Them jeans, you're just down the street, but I'm sure you've had a different morning than I have, maybe.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the acoustics in your room are odd, I will say. I don't know. Hopefully that's just the Zoom talking, but I think we'll clean it up in post. Yeah, I've had a rough, since I got home from Austin, I've had a rough go, but we're getting there.
I don't want to bring up anything too sensitive, but I just so the listeners know where you're at. Is the water heater repaired? Are we good?
We're good. Yeah, got home Sunday night after a weekend of Tex-Mex and watching guys rip the filters off their cigarettes and, drinking Matthew McConaughey hazy IPAs just to get the enough water in the system so you're not dehydrated. And then got home Sunday night. Carolyn was nice enough to pick me up from the airport, and we went and got a little bite to eat at Barsiniski. Had some delicious tomato toast.
How many places are there called bar something? We got to stop. Let's get more creative.
I agree.
Like if you're a restaurant, I'm going to assume you have a bar. I'm just putting that out there.
But I think the problem is people are like, okay, we don't make any money selling food, only selling alcohol because the margins are shite. We need to lead with the fact that we're a bar that also serves food.
Alcohol's over too, though. This is a whole nother issue, but yeah, that does. I see your point. I don't know if that's going to help, but I see your point.
I mean, I'm not saying that's why they're doing that. That's just one theory I just came up with off the dome. But went home, and then there was a leak in the primary bathroom that was coming down and dripping through the AC vent. Had a little bucket there, so Carolyn kind of had a little Chinese water torture going for the whole weekend while I was gone. And then I went up into the attic, scooped out some, moldy water that was pooling up in a water heater drain basin. Get up into the attic with the roaches and get a little insulation, fiberglass, kind of underneath the surface of my skin.
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice.
So, that's good. And then, eventually went to bed, and then guys came over in the morning, and then from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. just hung out with no water and no power while two guys installed a new water heater.
Why is they have to turn I didn't realize they had to turn the power off for that kind of thing. But
not for the whole time, but for some moments.
Okay, sure. No. Well, I'm sorry.
Because they had to like unwire the old one. And
I see. So there could be some.
And there's other complications, of course, with pressure, and we bought more stuff, more tubes and more pipes and more regulators and stuff. So
thank God.
We got to spend a nice little bag yesterday.
This is the dark side of home ownership that people don't want to acknowledge, that it sucks, I would say 50% of the time.
No.
When things like
it's 5% of the time where you're like everything is beautiful and hunky dory and you own your own property and life is good and blah blah blah, and then obviously things come around and you're like, oh, today I had to spend $9,000 to get a new water heater installed.
I guess
so
you're right.
Part, less cool.
If it was half the time, you couldn't pay your mortgage. So, if based on these figures, I see. I
think it's more like when like the property tax, like that shit hits. Like I think that one hurts.
That
most,
is actually. You're absolutely right. That's a really great point.
Thank you.
And I try
much.
not to think about. I try not to think about that. But then I have someone in my life who likes to remind me. So that's special for all of us.
Shout out to you, Shorty. And then then this morning, as I had to hurry up and pick up the dog shits in the backyard before Frank, our gardener, came, get it nice and presentable for him. Then the old HVAC filter, had to throw that away, folding it up into the trash can, and then a little piece of metal kind of sliced my middle finger open. So then I had to dress a wound that was...
Oh, God. You're not going to be able to play guitar for a while.
Dog shit and garbage cans. So, we're getting there.
You're not making a good case for... All right, but tonight we're going to go have some delicious... We're going to have some delicious pizza together. You're going to have a couple cold brewskis. It's going to come back around. This day's looking up. We have a great guest today, a friend of the show. It'll be an easy one. You know, it's going to be fine. The weather's not too
Yeah,
hot.
it'll be great. We're gonna finish this. It's not too hot. I've got a nice cowboy colostrum powder whipped into my cold brew. It's going down. It's gonna give me the energy I need. As soon as we finish this, then I'll get to go to Home Depot and rent a dehumidifier, which I will then install in the attic.
I don't.
And then
Look, at least you
buy
at
other
least
things
you
at
can
Home
do
Depot.
this stuff. When I go into Home Depot, they basically call me the F slur and tell me to get out. Like they don't even let me. They don't even let
They
me
say
look
garden
around.
sections in the back.
Yeah,
Garden
they
sections
don't
in
even
the
let.
back.
They don't even let me look around. They're like, "I'm sorry, sir. It's a private party tonight."
Like, let me guess. You want to get we have lighting, but not a lot of ring lights. I don't know what you're looking for here, young man.
That's more of a Target thing, sir. And I also
Are you lost?
while we're here and we have a few more minutes, I just want to shout out to all the Lucy Dacus fans who are scandalized by our chat with her, which I thought was like pretty straightforward and fun. Like I know who her fans are, and I know that Boy Genius fans are absolute fucking psycho blue hair, everything hurts vibe. But I did not know. I really felt like we had a really nice, normal conversation with her that was interesting and fun, and I can't believe that these she-theys could find a problem with it.
The blue hair barista said, "You thought, bitch."
I honestly, I was
thought that you had a nice conversation, but what you did was trigger me to hell and back.
It was several microaggressions, I guess, that I wasn't aware of, and I guess we made fun of stuff too much and also laughed too much, which is a funny.
Oh, I didn't read that. We laughed too much.
No, but the vibe was like they make fun of everything she says, which is just not what happened. What happened. Like I feel like I really had a different experience than what they heard.
Yeah, I mean, in the through their blue tinted lenses and blue tinted hair, it was basically like she was having a convo with Pete Hegseth or something like that. You know what I mean?
She was on Monday Night Football giving some commentary.
She was on Monday Night Football, and we were talking about what we're going to do about the border. But instead, we're like, whoa, it's crazy. We both went to the same, house show in Richmond, and I really like this peanut butter at Erewhon.
These fandoms are so crazy. I mean, those people particularly, and like I feel like it's just I can't imagine those being the audience, and I think she obviously is a very sensitive and like kind of emotional person. Like she's very in touch with that, but she's also from our hour with her, she was very normal and cool, and I couldn't deal with that. Like I couldn't.
So if you somehow she's a cool normal person, and the music that she makes is emotional, it attracts a certain type of person. If you saw that your fan base was starting to go into that direction where you really sort of had to walk on eggshells, and you could not make a joke about anything. You have to talk about land back programs and indigenous peoples and housing income equality and pet adoption or whatever. Would you be like, damn, I'm getting a little bag right now. I'm gonna throw on my my Greta Thunberg hat and get this party train rocking, or would you crash the plane because you couldn't handle it?
I would crash the plane. That would be the time where I could finally step into my quote cool unquote religious leader role. I would go the opposite. I would be like, all right, that's it. We're starting a church.
All right, imagine
I gotta start a church.
Lucy Dacus, she comes out on the cam with who's the country music singer that brings somebody out and doing the little hallway walk.
No, that's not that. You're
Morgan Wallen.
Oh yeah, Morgan Wallen does the stage, the Drake style.
Morgan Wallen brings out. We got the My Pillow guy and Lucy Dacus coming down the hallway.
Oh God, dude, that is so funny. I heard a great story actually from someone that will remain anonymous about Morgan Wallen. He has a festival, and he offered this person an insane amount of money to play, and they said no. Like the number got bigger over like a 4-month period to the point where I was like, you have to do. I would have, if you would have called me, I would have told you had no choice but to do this. And they were like, nah, I can't.
And you know this person.
Yeah, I know this person. Yes. And I was like, you next time don't call.
Let me bleep it, ho.
I was like, don't call your manager. Like, call me because you fucked up. Like that is not like, because at a certain point you're getting one over on him. He needs you more than you need him, and that kind of bread, like bleep this out too. It was I was just like, bro, you gotta come on now. But like I get it. Some people are principled. I and I
fuck
understand.
the down payment. That's the whole house.
But at a certain point, I think that like when things like that happen, you're actually taking advantage. You're winning. You know what I mean? Donate half the money if you want, if that makes you feel good, and keep it. And you won. That's a victory for the resistance to me.
Yeah.
But I get it.
That's a good way to spin it.
Yeah,
And I think easier said than done when you're
totally.
I know, but I see both sides.
Yeah, I see both sides too. I think I wish I had principles of that level, but I don't. All right, we got a guest today, friend of the show, superstar DJ Mark Ronson. He's been on the program before. He's got a new book out that's great called Night People. I'm sure you've seen him out promoting it for the last couple months.
Yeah, the book is pink. I read it while I was on holiday in Europe. It's a real page turner, obviously, for somebody like me. It's a little bit more compelling information, as I am an elder millennial DJ as well. Not as old as him, of course, but yeah, what a great book. What a fun read. Less successful. Much. And, but yeah, he's a great guy. We're going to have a fun chat. We're not going to talk about bullshit with this guy. We're going to really get into it,
We're going to get into it. I can't wait to get a lesson.
What's your favorite song to play in the club?
So what happens? I want to get into needle stuff. Not that kind. I mean, like record needle stuff.
There is a chapter about needles. Okay, let's.
I know. It was educational. It really was. All right, let's give Mark a call.
Oh, and don't forget to finish the Barney's book by Thursday. Mark, can you hear us?
I can. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're sounding good.
Great.
Yeah.
It's not too live, this room?
Oh, there's issues, but what are we gonna do, Mark? This is what you give us.
I can
Just
move.
kidding. It sounds fine.
I can move rooms.
No. This is fine. This is fine.
Great.
I have AI technology that will clean it all up.
I love the idea of you calling down to the front desk at the Chateau Marmont saying you need to change rooms for an hour just to kind of.
Can I get the podcaster's suite, please?
Is there one? Is there one of the?
I could move from like this room to like my bedroom. But yeah.
No, I know what you meant. You're like, I can move from my dining room to my bedroom or the closet if we really need it.
I think the study has a big couch, so maybe it'll sound a little better in there. Trap some of that bass.
It'll be.
You know it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mark said, look at my little suite. Suck it. Okay, does your room at the Chateau smell like cigarettes, or is it feeling clean and crisp?
It actually doesn't, but I saw the little ashtray next to the bed with this matches in it. It made me a little wistful. I was like, oh God, I remember when I used to really enjoy that ashtray. But,
you've smoked. You're saying you've smoked in bed in several hotels throughout your life.
I smoked in bed. I've probably like stubbed a cigarette out and fallen asleep, the other way around. Like, yeah, in fact, when I was probably 15, I fell asleep smoking a cigarette and I woke up and my comforter was on fire. I mean, that wasn't like decadent. That's just being like a shitty teenager. But yeah,
sure. But it has its own charms to it.
Hey, thank God that you were awoken by the flames and smoke.
And I even remember what song I was listening to, or when I came to. I was listening to the Juice soundtrack, and I fell asleep during some song, and I woke up during Son of Berserk's "What Could Be Better, Bitch." I just will never forget that.
What a tune! I'm going to insert it into the episode right now, so our listeners can.
I'm not super familiar with. I'm not super familiar with that.
No, nobody is. That's why it's funny to go to sleep during something iconic and just wake up on fire during an album track.
I'm ready to strip them down. Pass me the 40 dog. Hey yo, is you ready, bro? You know I don't give a fuck. I'm ready to burn it up. So what could be better?
The Juice soundtrack wasn't full of platinum singles. There were a couple lesser-known jams in there.
Yeah. For the heads. It's for the heads.
On the D side of the double gatefold LP that I'm sure you had doubles of as well. I always thought that whenever you go to the Chateau and the hotel room has the ashtray in it, I always was like, are they going the extra mile, like the 5-star service where they find out if the guest, like each individual guest, is a smoker or not, and only those people who are smokers get the ashtray and those who are clearly not don't?
Right.
But I guess you pop that balloon for me.
Well, maybe not, but I guess they still associate me. Like I probably been staying here for 20 years, so more than half of that time I was
Sure.
a smoker. I'm sure if they, it's a nice European family of five check in. Oh no, then they would definitely they would
Not
all be
They would
European?
smokers.
definitely no. They have one in every. They have one in
I
every
think it's
room.
in every room. I think it's in every
It
room.
is. It is for sure. I can't believe they closed the liquor store next door.
Oh,
I felt
I didn't even think about that.
that was an
Oh, shit.
iconic. I used.
Yeah.
I had some friends tell me the trick was that you would basically that place existed in part because you could drink the full mini bar at your leisure and just go refill it.
Replace it.
Yeah, just
Wow.
replace it there before you left.
That's amazing. I didn't even think about that, but I definitely had hit up that liquor store before. And then I could tell that my reputation started to get more tame in like the hotels because sometimes when you check in, they like leave you like those little like Manhattan cocktails or some kind of like
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
in
yeah.
it. And now I come in the thing and it's just gummy bears. So I'm just like also
I guess.
and also I'm not sober. I don't want to like mislead anybody, but it's definitely in my other days. Like I always think about like what's the Denzel Washington movie? Is it called Flight? The one where he's a troubled pilot and he has to
Right.
he whenever he checks into the hotel he has to have them clear the minibar beforehand.
Yeah, it's called Flight. 2012's
Now
Flight.
that's the thing. I'm like, just get the Milk Duds and the Twizzlers out of here, please. Thank you.
That's Chris's life.
Yeah. I have to clear the dessert and the alcohol. That's how dark it is. But these kind of mini bars where it's stuff you actually want, I'm so glad that is sort of Chateau's always been like that. But I think other hotels, like a kettle potato chip, is exactly what I want. Like
I know.
that's good.
Oh, wait.
Oh, you have your own?
This is real. No. So this is the one that comes with the small kettle bag of, the regular brown sea salt.
Mhm.
For some reason, when I checked in, there was a party-sized bag of salt and vinegar, Chris. So that's how I know my reputation is preceded.
But it
me.
seems
That's-
like and I don't mean to break the fourth wall, but it seems like you've opened the salt and vinegar and enjoyed a few of those.
I have, but what I do is to make myself feel better. I just put some in a bowl and then I take that to the bedroom so I know I won't go crazy.
That is very triggering for me, Mark, because I
DJ portion control over here.
yeah, my dad would eat peanut M&Ms every night and he would walk from the kitchen to the living room with a handful and just do that over and over. And the process didn't work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would try. That's what
Yeah,
I
no, it
saw. That was
doesn't.
the example set for me. So I tried to do that, and I had a similar fate when I tried that
Don't play the blame game, Chris.
style.
The amount of times I go when we're in the studio and it's a long hallway and a fairly long walk to the little kitchenette area and I grab a handful of trail mix, which is, it's M&Ms mixed with peanuts or whatever the fuck else. And then I walk back and by the time I get back to the studio door, it is empty and I'll just go back before I've even got
Exactly.
it's pointless.
But I think the positive spin on this is that at least you're walking to and from. You know what I mean? You're not in
You're
a
getting
you're
your
not on a
steps in and you're
scooter.
choosing.
You're getting
You've walked
your
off
steps in.
1/8 of an M&M. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Every little bit, we're chipping away. Every little bit.
Okay,
counts.
pistachios.
Yes.
So
too.
pistachios, high calorie item. You already know that, Mark.
Oh my God.
So you had a party there on Friday. Chris and I were out of town. We were in Austin, and my wife was like, "Can you like email someone so I can go to this party?" And she went and she said it was great. I'd love to hear some more about it. A little FOMO. Who's had the best DJ set? Who fell? It's stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a really lovely party. It was a last minute party to celebrate the release of the book. So I had a couple of my favorite DJs. Well, one of my very favorite DJs who actually features in the book, this DJ named Mighty My, who's this great hip hop DJ from Philly, was in New York doing the clubs with me. He was part of an underground hip hop group called the High and the Mighty. If anybody, they were on Raucous.
Of course.
So he came out from Vegas, played a set. Zane Lowe played a very tasty set.
Wait, Zane Lowe can actually DJ?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought Zane Lowe was. Okay, I didn't realize that.
When you say tasty, expand on that, Ronson.
tasty like John Lee Hooker into Biggie kicking the door and like well done and just good like the shit that like he probably loves. It doesn't get to play a lot.
Zane was DJing for you and only you is what it
Yeah.
sounds like. And I would do something similar
Yeah.
in his cardigan as well.
Jane and I used to have a DJ duo where we'd play like in Ibiza to like 1,000, 2,000 like sweaty English university students like a couple times a week. Like we kind of rinsed that for a while. It was pretty like there's a bit of jump around and Darude in there. I'm not gonna lie, but there was it was fun. And then my sister played an amazing set because obviously she was playing in the 90s.
Yeah.
She knew the shit. Kevin Parker from Tame Impala played some stuff. I was like, who's playing Kanye? I was like, oh, he's from Australia. He doesn't. It's not. Can't be mad at Kevin. And he played a killer set, and I couldn't even tell you honestly who was there. I saw pictures after. I was like, oh, that's cool because I was just literally in the DJ booth the entire time, sort of true to form. So it looks like a lot of fun. People were saying like, whoa, there hasn't been a party like this in LA for a while, which I was surprised because if you look at Miles Hendricks' Instagram, you would think there are only parties like that in LA.
Every night is every night is a party. And
There's one
everybody's
happening
hot.
right now.
That's why our friend Harley just said that's why Miles is so talented at what he does because he's like, I've been at some of the deadest parties ever. And you look at Miles's pictures and you're just like,
makes
it
it
is
look good.
crunk.
You can make it appear more crunk than one would assume. So
Yeah.
he's got a gift.
So I think it was a good time. Did your lady have a good time?
She said she had a good time, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, she said the same thing. Like sometimes when you go to the club there at Bar Marmont, I've been to a lot of parties that are stiff, and they're like, let's have these 3 models DJ who have never DJed before, and the party just never gets into a groove or never gets going. So I was jealous at the one time this is happening. At this place, it's full of actual professional DJs with vinyl and whatnot.
Jason, we were at a great event at a performing arts center in Austin, Texas,
I was
where we could see.
I guess I was DJing, so that's nothing better than that.
That's true.
It's funny because the New York party for the book, which was the previous week, it was really wonderful, but it was. I wouldn't say aging. I would just say age appropriate. People
It looked pretty aged. I would say
it was a little older, like hip hop crowd, because I wanted to make sure the only guest list I made was just people that I talked to and invited because to thank them for being in the book. So of course that's good. The age is gonna be a certain thing. So it's like New York was aging hip hoppers, and this one was just like ageless hipsters. I was like, well, who are these people coming for? But no, it was very nice.
You contain multitudes. You contain. Well, yeah, I feel like we're catching you. You've really been on a tear, bro. You've been out here whoring it out, and I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's. I guess if you obviously, it's like anything. You look at social media, just be like, holy shit. I guess I've been working hard. I think it would but that's the fact that people like you who know what the grind is and other people keep telling me like, dude, you've been out there. I guess, yes, I have been out there and it can also just always look like it's more than it is.
But do you think selling a book is the hardest thing you've ever tried to sell?
Well, I think that it's because it's the first time and it's new. There's maybe something about it that's a little more exciting than pitching a record. But there's also not those like, you don't have to play live on TV. And I mean, I've been DJing 2 nights a week, so I guess there is some kind of live thing about it. But
yeah, but you're not doing K-Rock at 6 a.m. with an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, and I guess the only other difference is there's some sensitive subjects in the book that like I'd agonize over how to word them, like whatever, whether it's trauma, anti-Semitism, Puff, all these things that like for months.
The big three.
I'm like,
big three.
I don't want to say like suddenly you're caught off guard in an interview and you're like have to answer the same question that you've like written as like most eloquently and uncancelable as you can, and then you have to fucking just say it off the thing. You're like, oh, but so
okay, that's interesting. Okay,
that stuff is a little challenging, but no, other than that, I've enjoyed it.
Well, we're not going to get fresh air on you. Don't worry, bro. We're not going to talk about domestic abuse or even worse, Kanye West.
Yeah.
What was the one that you did where the guy asked you all the serious questions in like a lightning round?
Was that Ari Melber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had never heard of that. I didn't know what that was. Like this guy is really getting deep and wants you to give him like a 1-word answer.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is hard.
Yeah. Are you not familiar with his show on MSNBC, The Beat?
No.
He's like quite famous for being like, he's like a really respected, great journalist. Like he's written books on the January 6th report. I think it's the highest rated show on MSNBC, but he is also an unironic, just avid hip hop fan. So he will have like gigs, the Secretary of State and Mario Carbone on the same thing, and they'll analyze like a very provincial English sounding gigs lyric. I'll have to ask them like, do you think you know what this lyric means? You know, and like
Cool.
it's just funny. Like
That is cool.
He did a whole episode, and I know like this could elicit an eye roll if it, but it's really not that, like on analyzing the lyrics to Hove did, like that last Jay-Z verse from the Khaled thing. And it was almost like a book. And then Jay-Z actually sampled it and used it in like, I don't know, some other shit. So like he's just like a super hip hopper who just went into the news, and
That's fun. That's funny. That's pretty funny.
and he was at the after party just like vibing out to Souls of Mischief. I mean, at the New York party for sure.
In like a suit with a red tie, just banging his head in the corner.
Sounds like a more like if Bill Maher was a listening to Sound Bombing 2
Yeah.
instead of whatever he was listening to.
Yeah, what the hell do you think he was listening to?
I was about to say, I don't think Bill Maher's ever listened to music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He seems like one of those guys, or he's like, I just love the Eagles.
I was just about to say it would be the Eagles. It would be something that like kind of smacks of money and a little cynicism. Yeah, definitely.
But the Eagles do get a really bad rap, and I don't know exactly why, beyond just the sort of blatantly obvious stuff, but I feel like they're like the butt of the joke very often.
Well, until recently, they had the number one selling album of all time. So anybody that big,
Sure, they're coming for you. They're coming
for you. But yeah, you're right. But I think it was
They're the Imagine Dragons of the 70s, many say.
right.
21 Pilots of the 70s.
Can you imagine? But I think that there was so much famous infighting, and they were so rich, and there was the cocaine that just from the outside we would have started to just be like, come on, Pat, like maybe. But I love Don Henley's solo records. Like when I was like 12, those were my shit.
I mean, they have hits. That's the thing. But you're right. I guess if you're at the top, somebody's going to come for the crown, no matter what your attitude. Wait, what's number one now? Taylor Swift?
I think maybe Michael Jackson overtook it at some point. I think they were always neck and neck, and then it was like, and then it might be AC/DC back and by. It's like it's always like those three or four. No, but nothing from this era.
Yeah, it's Michael Jackson Thriller.
That's surprising to me that nothing from this era, as much as we're forced to hear about numbers now.
No,
none of it means anything.
I don't think Taylor Swift is even eclipsed Back to Black. Like I because of the way the nature, even if she is just the biggest giant ever, no one will ever buy records at that thing. And the way that, because the streaming consumption works, it will never equal those pure sales.
Like the math won't work the same way. There's just
It
no
had
way.
to happen at that certain time frame in history.
When James Blunt went diamond, I love saying that. When James Blunt went diamond, everybody was like, that'll be the last 10 million for sure. And then I think Amy did 12, somebody else did something, but
That's James Blunt has never worked again, right? He just lives in Ibiza and like gets made fun of.
But just is also just so amazing at like
He's
taking
so funny.
down. He's so so like I don't think he might do shows.
Yeah,
I
why
don't know.
not? I mean, that's the thing. Everybody can do shows now. It's like you can just go play and
Yeah.
somebody's going to buy the ticket. It's a wild time.
Okay, well, speaking of wild times and playing shows, what do you think about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl? I've heard a lot of takes on both sides of the coin. There's the white guy take and then everyone else. What do you think?
I think as a DJ, absolutely nobody who's been more important, and even in the fact that I'm not super in the clubs where I am, but just for the first 5 years, like nobody has been bigger. And then the fact that he just like changed the game by making a salsa record, and that's even bigger than the shit before it. Like he's arguably he's the biggest artist in America, maybe the world, like just by numbers. So
Right, I think the world probably.
anything else just sounds like fucking stupid bullshit.
Don't come for Carol G like that.
Huh?
I said, don't come for Carol G like that, Mark. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just an interesting choice. I don't understand Bad Bunny. Like I can't listen to music
Yeah.
like that. Like I just don't. It's
Yeah.
not for me.
The new album too, with the more like classics also, no?
Dude, I've tried and I'm just like,
Okay.
when would I ever put this on?
Got
Like,
it.
when would be the appropriate time to listen to this? Because
Chris is a jangly guitar guy at the end of the day.
yeah, I want to hear a
Yeah.
guitar. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, but I do think it's an interesting move for the like whitest, most normal sport to do this because it feels like a real like we're trying thing, and I wonder if it will work or backfire
think
as far
it's-
as public perception.
Yes, I think it's also the rub of the Fox, which is obviously, I mean, the NFL, which
Yeah.
is obviously tries to be like nothing, but I'm sure Roger Goodell and everybody I know, I have a feeling which way they're voting. And then you have this sort of rub with the fact that actually though Jay-Z and Rock, or whatever the fucking, what are they called?
Rock Nation.
Rock Nation produced the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm sure also, it was a pretty well publicized that Taylor Swift and Adele were also asked. Like maybe Bad Bunny was not the absolute first choice, but I think I don't want to just like parrot a Khalifa Sena op-ed piece, but like I do think he's the most important artist, like from my vantage point as fan, DJ, someone in it of the past 5 years. And the fact that he made the salsa record that is just so, because he was gonna play, I was producing the SNL 50th anniversary concert, and he agreed to play, but his whole camp was like, but we have this new album coming, so we're going to bring the Grand Combo to Puerto Rico, like as his band. And I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I wonder if this is going to work. And then you're just like, oh my God, this dude is just like now Hector Lavoe. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
He shows up with 50 guys.
Well, I think, Chris, the idea that the NFL and the Super Bowl is the most white shit going right now, it feels a little antiquated. I feel like it's a real multicultural, multi-ethnic thing. It's transcended race.
Oh, I don't. Look at the numbers, and I guarantee you that will be proven wrong. Overall, because it's not, because the NFL.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the NFL is not global in the same way that other
Right.
things are. Like like it's obviously the brand is global, but I'm saying like people in Europe don't care.
Right.
Like they're very few and far between.
For all the obvious people that didn't like this, it would align with the people that didn't like Kendrick, not like us. And there were giant songs that would have reached even the most like sort of red state.
I just
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I mean that whole production, because the whole thing is that people lose the performer and the label lose or spend millions of dollars of their own money to produce the show.
Right.
Which I feel like people.
You get that lick back easily, though.
I don't know if you do. I
I heard John Hamm went multiple times to Puerto Rico. Like he just loves Bad Bunny. And I remember just reading an article just saying like
I think he likes Bad Bunny fans, but yeah.
all the American like quote unquote A-listers and like Hollywood royalty and people that like went down to see that show. I was like, fuck, I should have gone. I could have got some autographs. No, but I was like, why didn't I go?
It looks like a fun show.
Have you been before in New York?
No. But I really love this. I love this new album. So that would have been more the reason.
I'm gonna have to give it another shot. I've come around. At first, I was like, I do not understand Bad Bunny. It's the same beat over and over again, and I can't understand all of the lyrics because I don't speak the language. But I'm assuming that they're not super dark or super deep.
I love I'll just occasionally, if there's one that I play a lot, I will go and like read what the lyrics are. But like
See.
TT me pregunta, I won't even try it. I don't know how to speak Spanish. My pronunciation's terrible. Like it's just like he's just telling his auntie about like all these girls that want to get with him, but in this very tongue-in-cheek way. And I was like, I love this song even more now.
Okay,
I liked it
I'm
before.
back.
Wait,
back.
hold on. I'm coming around on that. Him telling his aunt about how many chicks are
Yeah.
trying to have sex.
He's telling his auntie, I got this girl and this girl. You got to understand about all these, like about these girls that are like after me. It's like, it sounds in a very sweet way. I don't know.
It's a good angle because usually you would hear a hip hop song, you talking to your friends, in the barber shop about all the shorties that you're pursuing sexually, and he's saying, "I'm going to have the same talk, but with my aunt."
Yeah.
So everyone's going to be like, "Oh, that's so sweet that he has a great relationship with his family."
If Tupac had made Dear Auntie instead of Dear Mama.
We'd be in a different world. We'd be living on a different planet.
We can use AI technology to make that happen in about 7 minutes, Mark.
Yeah, that's true. Shit.
I want to talk to you about the SNL 50 thing because it sounds like it took up a lot of time and effort.
Oh yeah.
Because you mentioned it to me the other day. You were like, it was a lot, and I went. Like Will Welch and I went to the concert, and it was there was just, the production was just so, I don't know how to wrangle that many people. Like, I just don't understand. From a scheduling perspective, are you making calls? Is Lorne making calls? Is it like all hands on deck?
It was 18 months. I was like, when he asked me in like October of 2023, and I was like, I was so flattered. I was like, I know this is going to be a headache, but I cannot say no to this man and how big SNL is just like lorded, over my life since I was a teenager. So I said yes, but I was thinking like, it is crazy that we're talking about this far out. But then I started to understand, and then it was a lot of work, a lot of wrangling. There was stuff that Lawrence gonna call Paul Simon, of course, but like then the second call to be like, could you tell Paul I'd like him to do this? I was like, oh, he's your best friend. Do you want to call him? But so there was a little bit of that. There was people that I called. There were people. Listen, there was Aaron David, all these incredible people at Broadway Video that were dealing with shit too. But I was waking up like more than any other project I've ever worked on, like just in like a cold sweater, falling asleep, going like, we don't have an opener, we don't have a closer. Like I hadn't managed to convince Jack White to play Seven Nation Army yet. He doesn't play that song on TV. Like we didn't, all these things. And everybody there is used to working on the show. So everything is 11th hour. And it's like, I think they just operate under like a natural coding of Xanax that keeps them from just like losing their minds. And I don't.
Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. Or they're just so like sort of PTSD'd from it. It's just, it doesn't affect. And
so you're saying you have to, Jack White, who's somebody I'm sure you have met over the years, but you don't have like a relationship with, and you're like, I need you to do Seven Nation Army, and he's saying, I don't really do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we're at it.
I would never open a show with that, right? So then it's like, okay, well then we restructure the show so he could close, and still it's like he's turned down doing it at every Super Bowl, World Cup event ever, And
you're like, what if you do it with Sabrina Carpenter? Does that sweeten the deal, Jack? You like that?
And
we got options.
And just like, it was just like convincing these like icons, like that you just turn into. And I'm not above being like a nag or like being I'm not a thorn in anyone's side, but like having to be that role for this kind of thing. But it just fucking wore on me. And also, to be honest, I sat home watching the 40th anniversary 10 years ago, and that's when I first saw Miley Cyrus sing 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, and just completely became obsessed with her voice, and then chased her until we did Nothing Breaks Like a Heart. But I remember seeing all those people in their tuxedos and the thing, and be like, wow, that would be so cool to be invited to that. So when Lauren asked me, the next thing that flashed in my mind is, well, at least we'll get invited, and me and my lady will get in our tuxes and we'll go on to the show thing.
You'll probably get good seats if you're producing the entire show.
You're like, Lauren, is there any way for me to go without working? Is that possible, or are we not? Okay, and so then, I have to do something.
And then 4 months later, my wife becomes pregnant, and her due date is literally like the day before the 50th concert. So I've done all this thing to go with my lady to this thing. She probably won't be able to go. She did actually come to the Sunday anyway, but yes, she gave birth on Tuesday. And then I was going to I told them, I was like, I might not be able to come to rehearsals or anything. And then the second day, my wife was like feeling good. She's like, just go to fucking rehearsals. So it was like I love you,
babe. I love you.
She's like, I knew who I married. This motherfucker going to rehearsals.
Right. But there was something about sleeping on a hospital couch and going straight to Radio City, which supplied some fantasy of who I believe myself as in my brain or something.
Oh,
So
I mean, that's book number 2 getting written right there, brother.
yeah,
And also,
yeah.
I guess while all of this is going on, you're on deadline to write this book that you're promoting as well, I'm assuming.
That was crazy. That was absolutely
Put that on the back burner for a few months.
Yeah. I handed in the book in January, but I just didn't have the feeling that it was done. I was like, my publisher was like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, why do I not feel like popping the champagne or whatever the fuck? And then I showed it to my wife's cousin, this brilliant writer journalist named Abe Streep, who writes for like the New Republic and the New Yorker and ProPublica and all this shit. And he read it and he was like, it's good, but I think it could be a lot better. And do a word search for the word cool, because I lost count at 77 times. So he helped me for 3 months and put me with his features editor for the New Yorker. So like I was in the most intense rewriting period of the book as well at the same time as doing all this shit. So yeah, I was glad when all this shit was over.
Did you come up with any other words to use in place of cool?
No, I just realized I was being just lazy. I think it was like 78 times or something, which
that feels. I'm sure that I would suffer the same fate.
I think it's there's 2 types of people who say like, oh, that's cool, and then it's just normal, and then there's other people who are like, but what does that mean? Like,
Right.
and it really gets in their head, like, what's so subjective and objective and blah blah blah. Like,
I thought you were about to be like, there's 2 types of people who are cool, people who aren't.
There's people who are cool with saying the word cool.
We could get philosophical with it. It's not a problem. That's not a problem. I mean, I think that having that help. Did you know you were going to call him, or did that sort of come up?
I was so lucky. I ran into him at like Christmas at my wife's family's place, and he was like, "Oh, you wrote a book?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's like about DJing in New York in the '90s and stuff." He's like, "I'll read it," and I was like, "I can't." First of all, he really is like an esteemed journalist, and I was like, I don't want him to fucking read my book. I don't know.
It felt beneath him.
It's like, Mark, what's Smith and Wesson? I'm not familiar with that.
He was just like, no, I'll read it. So he texted me like that night, like, hey, I'm into it, and I really, it's good, and I wouldn't tell you if like it wasn't. And then like 2 days go by, 3 days go by, 4 days go, nothing. And then I see my phone, it rings, it says Abe Streep, and I pick up, and the first thing he says is, there's a permanence to books. And I was like, oh God, give it to me straight, Doc. How long do I need?
What a great opener.
He was
like
like,
that.
I'd say 6 months. And I was like, I called my editor, I was like, I got 3. And he started to edit it because he's also like a professor, and then he had to go cover the wildfires in California. And so he put me with his features editor, Hannah Walentz at the New Yorker, and she just like fucking helped me in this way that just was, I mean, I would have been canceled 5 times with the old book. It makes me terrified even just to think like that original version might have seen the light of day.
The power of a good editor. And it's really cool that you have this book that's about, going to the club and doing drugs, and obviously a lot of great crazy historical things that happen, but in your mind it could be considered a little trivial compared to somebody who's writing these crazy essays, and he's a professor of whatever he's doing, and it's great to have that those eyes on this subject matter. It just turns it into something that has never existed before. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Which is the power of your connections, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just like super, super grateful for that.
Okay. So does that mean we are thinking about book number 2 already?
No, this book took so much out of me, so much longer than I thought it was going to take. I had to sacrifice.
You did a lot in the 2000s, though, Mark.
A lot of work. Well, yeah, that would be.
You did also. You cut it off. Don't play with us. You cut that shit off. You knew exactly what you were doing. You stopped, and you got at least 2 more phases of your life.
Well, I know that if I do write a book, like another one, I'll have the like slightly inbuilt advantage of it being about the shit that anybody knows or cares about when it comes to my career. But I would just like to take a little while to like do all this shit.
Because it reminded me of Moby's books, which are low key incredible. And he stops before play comes out, and then the second one is like post play. and
Okay.
it felt like an entire book was a cliffhanger, and it paid
Okay.
off. You know,
Why
it's
not
good.
tie it all up with a bow? You never know if it's going to get the sequel treatment. You know, that's how I always feel about movies.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I did really just think like this was going to be a book about, I knew it was going to be about the 90s. Well, I knew I wanted to make it about the life of a gigging DJ, and I could only do that in the 90s because after that I was famous or whatever. So you're not living that life.
Hmm.
And then I also, and it has like, I guess in some ways it's not just like Mark Ronson's life up to 1999. It's like a thing that has its own sort of inner linking concept about
Mm.
going out at night and this thing. So if I could find something for the second book that wasn't just like, and now here's 2000 to 2020 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I
yeah,
like that I saw you did the thing with Nikki where you went through he kind of picked out some of your looks from over the years and then
Yeah.
made you comment on them. And I feel like I as humbling as that might have been for you, I feel like that's really a testament to staying power and how many phases you've been through. And I was like, damn, I remember a lot of this. There were some fucking looks.
Yeah, yeah, it was funny. I was already a fan of the videos he was doing, but I didn't know much about him, and he DM'd me and was like, "Ah, you should come on my show." And I was sort of like instantly yes, and went on, and then just at the end of it, I was like, "Actually, do you want to just style me? Do you ever do any styling?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure," because I'm not such an idiot. I can't pick out my own clothes, but I'm not in the mix the way I was 10 years ago. I'm not at shows. I don't know who the fucking cool designers are, all that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
we just got on well. So ever since that, he's been putting me in thigh-high leather YSL boots and just like been hanging. And
I was going to ask about that specifically. It feels like you wanted to, it didn't even feel like an arm twist in that instance.
he showed me the outfit, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." The nice turtleneck, kind of like wide, blazer. He's like, you have to wear the boots, so I'm not letting you wear it unless you wear the boots. And I was like,
I would never assume that you and Sam Smith were the same size. It's cool that you were able to just interchange those loops.
"Oh, I didn't know." Has Sam worn those same boots, or is it just similar to something Sam's worn?
It just seems like something, I hear thigh high
Right.
YSL leather boots,
I think the only person that I've actually seen wear them off the runway was Alexander Skarsgård. Wore them on like
Okay.
a late night
Well,
show,
That's right.
or maybe he wore them to the actual show. Either way,
Well, the thing is, you're wearing leather thigh-high boots over leather trousers, so at some point, they sort of they camouflage.
where does one start and where does the other begin?
I had never worn leather pants ever, like leather trousers in my life before, and I've like always just thought they were just only for Lenny Kravitz, and I was like, these actually don't look that bad. Like I understand everybody's been wearing leather pants, and it's Travis and Rocky and things for the last, but I was like, I don't know if I wear them all the time, but it's interesting, as you know, and to try things and things.
How's the comfort level on those leather pants?
Incredible.
Really? Okay.
At that level,
Like aloe jogging pants.
Okay, so there's as breathable as a nice set of aloe leggings. That's good to know.
Yeah.
at that level of leather pant, I think for that price, they have to be comfortable. They can't be,
Sure.
they can't be restrictive.
We ain't talking about the Miris. We're talking about real shit.
Yeah, it's real shit.
Yeah.
It's real shit.
So I want to talk about Black Rabbit, if you've seen that, as well as the adaptation.
Yeah, you already sold. You already
of
sold
your book.
You already sold your shit. Brandon Krieg going to work.
Yeah, I didn't see. I have seen the first two episodes of Black Rabbit, but how does that figure? And did I miss a step?
It basically, many people say it's sort of like, the spotted pig.
Oh, New York. It's supposed to be a New York thing. Yeah. Well, it sounds exactly like the Fat Radish. When I was like looking,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is that?
Very similar.
It's very clearly based on Spotted Pig. Like there's like
Okay.
an upstairs. It's like the whole.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
there's
Yeah,
a sexual assault that is covered up by the management and
got it.
backdoor money deals and all that kind of stuff.
Got it.
So basically, for your book adaptation, do you feel like the whoever is going to produce it and put it out, they're going to want to add some, a little more salacious drama like that to it, more so than normal?
Yeah.
Because I have to say, and I appreciate your restraint because you're, married with children, but there wasn't a lot of mention of women in the book, which I
Did you not have sex in the 90s?
and I was like, I was like, based on the other stuff here, I feel
I
like
became
maybe
great friends with Aaliyah, and we just hung out, and that was all.
there's several parts here that I feel like he left out
Yeah.
smartly that weren't necessarily part of the story. Only would be fun to read, you know.
Yes,
But it
of
doesn't.
course.
It's not necessary. But that felt
course.
like a decision. I'll say.
Yeah, yes, absolutely, and I think it's just going to be up to the filmmaker whether like this is loosely based on it, and as the protagonist is not Mark Ronson or whoever. Like, I'm down. Plan B and Dee Dee Garner and Jeremy Kleiner, who I actually know from growing up in New York, and we used to like share custody of a Fat Joe cassette single of Flojo. Like, he is from like the era and understands it. So I fully trust him. I'm like, of course, there's something about my weird like hangups and stuff that would be so excited for them to no longer be Mark Ronson, but loosely based on the scene. But I absolutely leave it in their hands. I think I was so excited that they had the reaction they did to the book and wanted to option it, and so I was just like, I just leave it in the hands of the grown-ups.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come around to enough nostalgia. Time has built up to where this era, which, you know, we can think warmly of and negatively of, you know, like a lot of dumb shit was happening back then as well. But, you know, we're old enough now to where young kids are really immortalizing that time as like truly legendary, the way, you know, we would with, you know, you would with collecting like 70s records or whatever.
I was at some Seder here, like when I first moved to LA in 2017 or something, and this kid just came up to me. It was like some young, cool actor kid who was from Brooklyn and living out here, and was just like, "You were in New York in the night." Like, the way that he asked his wide eyes and all this thing. I'm not gonna lie, that was like 15% of what like was the driver for writing this book. Like, I mean, it was Blue Gems and people who had passed away. It was wanting to write the thing of the gigging DJ and some other stuff, but it was really like that kid's monologue was in my head like a lot of this time. So you're right, this fascination with it is, yeah, and it makes sense.
Yeah, and we don't get to really have that anymore with today's like modern dance culture, where you can go and sneak in to the DJ booth and just kind of squat in the corner and watch whoever's playing and listen and look and learn and go get him a drink in exchange for, you know, letting you hang out and sort of observe. Now it's just a giant, you know, football stadium sized screen with visuals, you know, and you never get within 100 feet of the DJ booth.
Yeah.
And they're not even DJing anyway.
Yeah, and there's like so much shit that I also left out. Like when you said that sneaking in the booth, like I remember when no one knew what Daft Punk looked like, and they came to this club that I DJ'd on a Friday called it changed names so many times. It was called Spa or the System or Key Club or something. It was on 13th Street. They were like hanging in the booth, like because they were just like wanted to hang, watch, and then but they were very like, you know, just like, you know, just low key like in the corner, and Mariah Carey just like bursts into the booth and like this very Mariah Carey sound, like the door like comes in and like the door like kind of like knocks them to the side, and it's just like, and I'm sure if she knew that was Daft Punk, she would have been like bugged out too, but like it was just they're just there. And yeah, there were. Listen, I'm sure awkward and silly moments like that happen in Diplo's booth all the time. But
yeah,
as a whole,
that's what I would call awkward and silly in his booth. Yeah, definitely. That's awkward and silly. I agree.
Had a silly time last night.
Yeah,
but that's how I came up with DJ AM. I would sneak into the Brent Bolthouse clubs.
Yeah,
and he would let me just kind of chill there in exchange for, you know, giving him a cig or, you know, cracking some jokes or whatever. And I would never expect, like, you would have parts where you would sit there all night in hopes that somebody would say, like, hey, I got to take a leak. You want to hop on for a couple songs?
Yeah.
And then that would be like, holy shit moment. I never even considered that. When I was reading the book, I was like, oh yeah, thank God he never threw me the cans and said, you know, drop this Led Zeppelin into the Fat Boys, you know, whatever what it was that he was doing, because I would have shit myself.
Yeah.
The best part about that story in the book also was that because it was pre-internet, you guys were doing, like you said, you guys were doing something similar, but because it was on different coasts, it was sort of siloed until you like physically saw the other one doing it. And I think
Yeah.
that's a crazy thing to wrap your head around.
You were probably
Yeah.
feeling yourself and it was all good until he got lap banned and you're like, oh, hell no. Damn.
Well, we were all about the same level when he was still like kind of at Dragonfly and stuff, and then when he got
Yeah.
sober and just spent a year practicing in his room, went to another level. I was like, oh God, like he's just gonna run away with it.
Yeah. And he did. I mean, he
did.
really was just the top of the top of the top.
Yeah.
Do you I think that
You know, no offense to everyone else.
I was talking about nightlife the other day when we were in Austin, and it was with Matt, who used to do Beatrice Inn.
Yeah.
And
Matt Creed?
no, Matt Abramczyk.
Okay.
And I was just like, why it just doesn't exist anymore, that sort of mix of people that partly that's in your book, but partly was in Jason and I's life too, where it's like, especially in New York, it's like it used to be a real hodgepodge of people, and there would be celebrities, there would be fucking skaters, it would be a real mix, and now you go anywhere and it's just kind of rich guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, the graph kids can't get in through the door person because they didn't buy a $1,400 bottle of.
Because we were at this place, People's, a couple weeks ago, which is like, it's cool, and I went to a great party there after the Met, and then I went on a regular night, and I had a good time, but I was like, oh, there's no like, it doesn't feel glamorous. There's no danger. There's no like, no, I don't know. I can't. It's tough to put into
There's
words.
no like, who is that?
Yeah. And I feel like you really did that for 20 years, you know, and it has changed completely.
Yeah, it did change with the bottle service stuff, and I'm sure like the weird thing that made those clubs so cool, maybe the graph kids, the skateboarders, like maybe you go to Brooklyn, it's because now it's like fashion designers mixed with da 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 da. So there's some kind of mix, but I don't know what it is, and I haven't seen it.
I can't, but yeah, I mean, I just like, it's not, the thing is, it used to be like downtown Manhattan. Now you have to go to you have to go to a warehouse in Ridgewood at 3 a.m. and you can't get there by car. You know, it's just like, it's too hard.
Yeah.
It's too difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not that I'm invited
it's not
or trying
weird
to go.
if you're at like a shitty downtown warehouse rave and there's some graph kids tagging, but if you're in the middle of Hollywood on the Sunset Strip, or in somewhere in Manhattan in the meatpacking, and there's that element of danger, that's what keeps it nice and fun. As long as nobody's getting like seriously hurt,
Shanked, yeah.
As long as there's no shanking.
But you're DJing. You said you're back on your vinyl bullshit. You're just like doing it.
Yeah, a friend of mine. Do you know Caius Paulson, who like has this label Young? He manages the XX, and like he's always like, when I was starting my last album, Late Night Feelings, he was like, he just says these ideas that just sound like sort of vague and like ridiculous, but they're brilliant. Like he said, I think you should just start DJing a bunch of parties where you only play like breakup songs. You DJ for like 15 people. And I was like, okay, because he's just a smart guy. And the first night I DJed it, and it was at our old studio on Sunset's Sound Factory, and played a couple songs. The next day came in inspired and kind of wrote Nothing Breaks Like a Heart. So like he's always got some cool thing that bears some fruit. So he said he really liked the book. He was like, but it just really feels like you just missed DJing vinyl. Like, go back to playing vinyl for the end of the year. And I was like, oh God. And this was like March. But I was like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna try it. So I just like tracked down all the fucking records I lost, and I saved a lot of records, but I didn't save like Yin Yang Twins, the Whisper song. Like I saved things that I knew I was gonna play at home.
Sure.
Tracking down all those kind of records, and then I called Ellie Escobar, and I was like, hey, like if I wanted to play vinyl again, like where should I go? And he was like, well, you can play at my spot. And I'm like it's like the most like hip sort of connoisseur dance techno sort of slightly ratchet thing. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, just play on a Wednesday. And I played. I was a little rusty, but it was just I felt so good to actually like, yes, play vinyl. And I'm not fucking A-track with the things, but just even kids watching this, my fucking chaotic ballet of vinyl, and throwing records on and off, and 8-bar speed mixing, like people were just like, what the fuck? And then records skipped, and the fucking shit went wrong. But it was just such a good hard reset for all of my DJing stuff. So I've been doing it since, and now it's I'm working back in the other shit like digital because it's almost untenable. But it was the hard reset that I kind of needed.
Yeah, I mean, with leaving the vinyl at home for so many years and bringing the Serato, it really dulls a lot of your reflexes, and a lot of muscles go.
You play records way too quick because you can.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like a click and drag. Like a song like my entire 90s hip hop R&B set had been reduced to pretty much the same 20-minute mega mix most nights. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh wait, I can play 4 hours of this shit. I have Mob Deep Got It Twisted that I forgot about. I have Freeway, What We Do, like all these songs, and then songs that you would have pulled out and people might have danced, but it's like a 3 megabyte thing somewhere in a hard drive. Like the act of like it sounds so fucking over the top, but the ceremony of like taking it out and you're playing it, and people subconsciously like
Mhm.
this must be important because he carried it from his house. Like
Yeah.
it just subconsciously goes into the night.
Yeah, it's like when you bring a bottle of wine to a restaurant and the sommelier makes a whole presentation of it. We're respecting it. You really care about this. And I
Yeah.
think also the feeling of when you're playing on a vinyl record with a needle, since it is literally a small groove of vibrations, like when you're cueing that first kick drum, like you can hear it in your headphones,
Yeah.
but you could also feel it
Yeah.
like in your finger, like
Yeah.
very faintly. If it's like a big kick drum, like you could feel
Damn,
it.
this is sick. This is sick. I can see Jason getting hard right now talking about
It's
it.
very like, like surfing versus, it's just like when you catch your first wave. I've never done it, but yeah, you would imagine you're like, oh, this is it, and then you just chase that feeling forever when you first mix two records perfectly, same speed, same key, with vinyl, all with just your ears and your brain, and no laptop and no screen and no cue points and
Yeah.
no
It's
mixed in key. It's like
it's all the
it never gets old.
beautiful psychological things that were perfectly encapsulated in the 2024 Zac Efron film "We Are Your Friends." That gets to the heart of no.
Well, and the reason why it does that is because I was the DJ consultant on that film, actually, and I taught Zac Efron how to DJ.
I was hoping that you knew that,
how to look like a DJ, I should say.
and you were making a
I
joke.
did know that. No, I didn't. I feel terrible now. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm not offended. Obviously, that film has been a little bit of a punching bag, but now it's become a bit of a cult classic, and young people truly love it and enjoy it in the way that we would watch Entourage.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even mind the movie. It's just such a different kind of DJing, obviously, because the whole thing is modern DJing.
Yeah,
So it wasn't even a good analogy.
No, it was funny.
But I think that yeah. When was the last time that you played vinyl? Have you played it a little bit?
I'll mix a couple songs here and there, just like at a record store, or at like a if someone's having like a party
Yeah.
somewhere and there's some vinyl and like a rotary mixer, I'll get in there. But in front of a crowd, like a proper set for a couple hours,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the other
so
that's the
long.
other thing. And sorry, Chris, that we're getting so nerdy, but all
I'm used to it. It's okay.
No, Chris loves this shit.
all the places have rotary mixers now too, because that's now like the hi-fi shit. So that is also there's this like fried chicken restaurant up in the Berkshires called High's Fried that I've been playing sets at that I love, but it's like yeah, like what happened? When did we lose the crossfader? That's what I want to know. I want to know that. Anyway.
Well,
I'm
I think
outraged.
it's when we stopped listening to hip hop in the club anywhere, but
Yeah,
I mean, I don't like truly like nobody like you can't have a hip hop party.
yeah,
They just don't exist.
yeah.
For a multitude of reasons. So the idea, I mean, yeah, whenever I'm in the club and they have a rotary mixer, I'm like, God damn it, here we go again.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially if you're playing songs that are not, with just a drum loop recorded in the 70s by a white guy with coke and an afro, and that shit's not quantized, and you're gonna be riding,
yeah.
you're gonna be twisting this needle and riding that knob, and
I feel like when I first found out what a rotary mixer was and you explained it to me, I was just sort of like, that seems unnecessarily difficult.
Yeah.
know? And you were kind of like, yeah, I mean, now that I said all that, you're absolutely right. It is difficult. That's kind of the whole point.
Should we talk about something other than rotary mixes? Just because I can see your.
Just a few more questions about the rotary, really quick, Mark. Well, no, no, I've always DJ'd where I bring the volume up with the slider,
Yeah.
the fader,
Yeah.
but then I grab the trim knob at the top to have more control as I mix
Whoa.
the song out.
You DJ with the trim knob, but that affects your pre-fader level.
Hold
That
on,
is
you guys are
crazy.
gonna do this without me
Do not bring up my pre-fader level, Mark.
If I can't make a trim knob joke, I think this is all a waste of time. I don't
like
know what
the
we're talking
control
about.
because when I'm sliding that slider down, it's not buttery, and you could
Yeah, it's
somebody
not
could
buttery.
bump your elbow, and it's all fucked up. I needed to a smooth fade out.
What-
and
one
then
thing-
sorry again, Chris.
One thing that has definitely happened since I started DJing again is that my tinnitus has been so fucking bad. Like I somehow managed for 30 years to dodge the bullet of that, or like it was a little bad or be bad at points, but now it's just here to stay. It's crazy. I remember AM having to sleep with a hairdryer next to his bed. I guess that was like before white noise machines were all the rage, but it's kind of scary. So I've actually had to start wearing this crazy ear protection, which also makes you feel like you're in a bubble, and it's like you lose the connection to the crowd. If you're mixing in a part of the song where it gets super quiet too, that's terrifying because you start to not be able to hear it. So I'm just trying to figure out that, like, did I write this book about DJing that weirdly has now, like, because of DJing since the book came out, I might have to stop DJing altogether. Is there some like weird poetry in that? I don't fucking know, but it's been bad.
Yeah, and even I'm sure when you were 19 in the club, you did not have good monitor volume discipline.
No.
When you're on your third 40 and your second bag, you're not making sure to bring the volume down in between mixes.
Yeah.
And I never did.
I also want to give you there's a lot of respect for the vodka cranberry in the book, and I think I think that's important representation because that was my drink of choice during that time period too, and I feel like the vodka cranberry has died a slow and pathetic death, and it was a great drink. It was good for your urinary tract was getting healthy and you were getting drunk. That's what more do you
I think
need?
we need to bring back more of an artisanal cranberry because I think everyone I want a skinny margarita, this, sugar-free, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Even though the cranberry is bitter, it had a fuckload of sugar in it and red 40 and all that stuff.
It was especially in the club because it was just like concentrate, like whatever came out of the fucking spray gun.
Just Rikers Island quality.
Only the best.
Cranberry juice from a gun into your with a little Sky vodka that has Popov poured inside of it.
Sometimes I think about like the times where I've like, did I really like alcohol or was I just like, was it my sucrose addiction? Like, what was it? Like all those things with so much fucking sugar tied up in there. Yeah.
Do you like the Red Bull or do you like the vodka?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really tough.
Well, Mark, thank you for taking the time to chat with us
Pleasure.
this morning. Congrats on all the success of the book.
Thanks so much.
I remember
guys.
the last time we spoke to you, you talked to us
Had I
about
just
how
started it or?
Yeah, you're like, we're gonna write this book about it, and Chris and I are like, well, good luck, buddy. But we'll look at you now. No, I'm just kidding.
Look at you now. You did it. Are you in the studio? Are you doing anything musically right now, like production wise? Are you back at it?
Yeah, I was with our guy Andrew Wyatt today.
Yes.
Working on some movie stuff, and I did intend. The other reason I wrote this book really was just to justify an album because I was like, this is my 6th album. Who the fuck is gonna care? I want to do some stuff like with this, like touches on the '90s, and I'll write a whole book to go with it, and then no one will be able to like say anything. Like, why do you fucking covering Aaliyah? It's like, well, this is a chapter, the context. Here's our friendship, and then I just never made that album. So, but I do have a lot of music that I love that I just have to find what that place is because I was, there's a lot of shit I was working on while I was doing the book, but the book just took all the time. But yeah, so hopefully that's soon too.
All right, great.
Okay. And also, when you said you and Andrew are working on some movie stuff, are you working on some movie stuff or are you doing the score and soundtrack for the biggest film next year?
I'm not allowed to say.
Okay.
So, but you guys are the best.
Hey man, thank you
We
for
love
joining
you,
us.
Mark. Thank you so much.
Always good to see you, bro.
All right.
Have a good trip to LA.
Thank you guys. Okay, bye.
Make no party once we crash the party. I'ma scoop shorty, then vacate the party. You keep grilling, I pump the shotty. Put you in a trunk, then dump the body. Nigga, you don't know, you better ask somebody. Y'all get down, we gon' clash probably. Pale snowflake out of that amber combi. I'm trying to rip Britney, so I made